The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
From Mallory Square in Key West to the Governor's Mansion in Tallahassee and all points beyond, you're listening to the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com, your source for all things related to the craft beer community in the Sunshine State. And now your host, Dave Butler.
Hello and welcome to what is probably going to be the penultimate episode before the new year 2024 approaches. This is the Florida Beer Podcast powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com. This is Dave, your host and author, and we are heading back to the North Miami Brewfest. It was a couple weeks ago, and if you've never been before, this has been one of my absolute favorite brewfests in the state of Florida for a very, very long time, put on by the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Development at Florida International University at their Biscayne Bay campus, which is in North Miami Beach, hence the North Miami Brewfest. Different location this year. This was at NoMI Village, and NoMI Village, if you've never seen it before, is basically built to be an event space, nicely sort of cut off from the rest of the city, and has a beautiful, fun sort of astroturf grass everywhere. So you're kind of not nearly on difficult to walk concrete or, asphalt or whatnot. It's just a good time. Once again, a great variety of people from across South Florida, a lot of FIU graduates coming back to sample not only their beer, but their food, so on and so forth. To get things started off, I'm actually going to bring in a few people that have been on the podcast before, kind of wanted to talk about what they were bringing that year, plus what they thought of the new event space, and what they thought of how the North Miami Brewfest keeps continuing, which is awesome. You've heard their voices before on the podcast if you are a listener, and if you are a listener, thank you very much. The first one we're going to be talking to is Matthew Weintraub. He is the head brewer or brewmaster or both at La Tropicale in Wynwood. He was there with Fernando Finol. Matthew, I really like having on the show because he knows his stuff. He is an FIU graduate and has basically moved up the ranks due to the education that he's gotten at FIU. So it's really fun to talk to him. And then Albert Rivera, who runs the brewing lab at Florida International University. And he's always at this event with his bread and beer buds. They basically not only make the beer at FIU that they sample, some of the people sample during the event, but he will also then take the grain and turn that grain into bread. And the FIU bistro, because there is a full-service restaurant that's on the Biscayne Bay campus that is run by the Chaplin School. The bistro uses a lot of that bread, and they were using that bread in some of the food samples that happened that event day. So we're going to start with Matthew Weintraub and Fernando Finol from La Tropicale, and then Albert Rivera from the Brewing Arts School at FIU. Matt Weintraub from La Tropicale. Since you have been to this event before as both an FIU student and as a brewer, what do you think of the new location, just to start off with?
No, I really like the new location. I think the way in which it's organized and laid out is a lot better and more conducive for experiencing the event in its total amount, right?
And it's kind of...
And I like that it's more compact as well. I think that last time we had the L shape, and I think it was not as conducive for talking with people, and I think that this year it's better.
Yeah, because I remember last year you were sort of on the second part in the corner, and it was kind of a little weird.
Yeah, and we're off to the side, and you didn't really get to have a good view of everything that was going on in the event. And I think this year you walk in and you see the full event in its entirety, and I think it's a really good place. I really like it from the change of the FIU school in the beginning to Covan's, from the last couple of years establishment to here. I think it's a good change.
That's awesome. So how has the response been? Because I know that with La Tropical, you tend to bring some of the similar beers. Obviously, you got to bring the original as kind of a requirement. But with Tropiflaca, I think this is the first time, at least with the new cans, that this has been out. How has the reception been to everybody?
Well, we ran out of it. Yeah, we had to go back to the brewery to get more. So, yeah, the reception has been awesome. People love it.
Are people still, and I guess this is kind of a baited question since we are in Miami, are people still looking at the fact that it's only 88 calories and immediately going for that? Because that's the exact opposite of what you get at a normal beer festival. Usually they look for the highest ABV they possibly can.
People definitely go to our booth to get Flaca because not a lot of people are into high ABV beers or super high flavorful beer. And they like Flaca a lot because Flaca also has flavor. It's not just any low-calorie beer, right? I think, from all the low-calories beer outside, I think it's the only one that's brewed with 100% malt. We don't use any adjuncts, any sugars, nothing. It's just 100% malt, so it has a lot of flavor, and it's also very aromatic with the hops that we use.
How difficult was it getting something like that with keeping that calorie count under triple digits, but still delivering what is basically a beer?
I think that's the perfect piece where marketing really drives an initiative on driving the calories down and really forcing us to rethink ways in which we're working. And it keeps us on our feet. I think Fernando and I can both say that we're still tinkering a little bit here and there with it, but it's definitely pushed us to an extreme, and we're happy about the outcome of that extreme.
That's amazing. And the other thing that we were talking about earlier is that you went for the tall, slim cans. Obviously, the Amber Lager is still in the regular short, squat 12-ounce cans for now.
For only this event. So we just have some of those cans left over, so we're using the cans, but it will, in market, you will find it in the sleek.
So everybody's going to this. Why do you think that this has become such a hit, at least with consumers to start with?
That's a marketing thing. I really don't know what is it about it, but it looks like people prefer that format a lot better than the other one.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of the marketing spins on it are a lot more brand awareness. You have a lot taller can to really space it out there. But also people gravitate towards it. They think, I guess it's more refreshing and things like that. So I think that those similar cues to what's happening in the water RTD market are kind of transferring into the beer market. Will it stay? I mean, this is a new transfer, so we don't know.
I think there is an advantage that I've noticed, and is that thin tall can inside of one of the koozies stays cold for a lot longer than the short one.
You would think it would be exactly the opposite.
No, it doesn't. I don't know exactly why is it, but I believe it's because of the heat that gets transferred to the top. So because it's through the top, this gets all the way up, the koozie gets all the way to the top, and that one has that bevel top. I think that you lose a lot of coldness through that part.
Interesting. That's kind of cool. The other question that I always found kind of interesting is that we have kind of redone the imagery on the Tropiflaca, but Tropicristal, that is an old kind of image, from the original brewery back in Cuba. When you have a packaging that is historical and something that harkens back to centuries old recipes, just like the Amber, is there a part of you that gets a little bit nervous? That's like, I've got to make something that goes into this that has to support and honor what has come before by people that are long since off this earth.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the same as the brand, right? The brand has a lot of history, but it's been refreshed in Miami, or they're saying like remixed in Miami. And I think that we have some way to play there a little bit. We have to pay homage, obviously, to the history of it. But I think since it does have the refreshed look in the tap room, I think that we get a little room to play. But we do have people go to the tent or taste the beer that are kind of reminiscing back on the flavor profile that they had in the past. And we've had a lot of success with the people and the palate that they're seeing and the taste that they're seeing out of this brand. So I'm good with it.
That's amazing. Got anything fresh and new coming down off the brew system or at the brewery? Anything exciting that you wanted to?
Well, one of my favorite brews that I've done at La Tropical and that's available right now in our tap room is our triple IPA. It's called La Grande. So it's an 11.3% alcohol West Coast IPA that's just delicious. I think it's of our specialty beers. It's one of my favorites.
And this is even more intense than what we had originally had as Gasolina, but now it's Tropolina, right?
Yes, correct. So that would be our double IPA, but we make it triple. So it's a lot more intense for sure.
Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No worries.
So there were a lot of awesome breweries that were at the event, some of which I had never seen before. There's also a lot of great food at the event, some of which I've had, some of which I've never seen before. And what's going to follow next is we're going to be doing a number of interviews with some of those people. It was really nice to see. First up is Anastasia Fraga from Johnny Cuba, which is a German brewed, Cuban inspired, I think US based beer and hot sauce line. And they're actually going to be going into a number of other different products, I do believe. They had a phenomenal space there. The Johnny Cuba lager is actually pretty solid. So we were able to talk to Anastasia, which I was very happy about. Then we have Emmanuel Arbalo from La Birra Bar. They are an Argentinian based burger joint. They've got 14 locations in Argentina. They've got one here in Miami. They're going to be opening up a couple more. They had the biggest food line at the event, behind Bay 13, I do believe. And they also won the gold medal for best food as voted on by the participants at the event. So I was able to talk to them about some of the most amazing Argentinian beef made burgers that I have ever had. Had a double combination after that. Marcos Cabrera from Uncommon Path Brewing. They've just opened up their location in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And then Rudy Delgado and Rick Abreu from Rocketeer Beer. They have finally found a location and they are in the process of opening it up. I think in Kendall. That may be wrong. I know they're going to be back on the podcast once they open up, which is awesome. So Marcos, Rudy, and Rick all came together. So we're going to be chatting with, once again, Johnny Cuba, La Birra Bar, and then Uncommon Path and Rocketeer at the same time. Enjoy. So if you could introduce yourself, not just who you are, but Johnny Cuba, kind of a nice overview.
Yeah, my name is Anastasia. Our brand is Johnny Cuba. So Johnny Cuba is a German lager. It's brewed in Germany, but here distributed in Florida for Miami. Johnny, the name, Johnny Cuba, comes from our owner. He is second generation from Cuba. His father is named Juan, coming to the States, John Juan, and is a Spanish name, and then in English, Johnny. So translates Johnny, and we're from Cuba. We love to represent Cuba, and we're very proud of our nationality. But we are a great German lager. It's light, 5%, nice, smooth taste. We sell at any local Hispanic markets. We have Sedanos, Fresco y Mas, Winn-Dixie. Coming in January, we're going to be selling at ABC Liquors. So it's little by little. We've been around for about 3 years now. It's been going great. We also even have hot sauces. So it's just an overall lifestyle brand that we have and enjoying the ride.
It's kind of interesting, I guess. How did you go from, first of all, it's obviously Johnny Cuba. You are here in Miami. It's very strong Cuban heritage, but bringing in a German lager, especially one that was brewed in Germany, is that generally what your founder and the team and what your the family that's down here are drinking? Are those kind of Euro lager style beers, or is there something special that you wanted the recipe to have that sort of reflected that heritage and the heritage that's down here?
Yeah, so our owner, Juan Guixens Jr., he actually, when he came to the concept of wanting to do a beer, he wanted to do the best. And everybody knows that German beer usually is kind of top notch. And for him, he looked at some German breweries and found the one that he liked, and that's where he came from with the German beer. And so that's why our slogan is a European with Caribbean roots, because we are Caribbean. And so it's coming from Europe. So it's a bit of both. We wanted good quality taste at a price you can't beat. We got it for a 6-pack. Usually goes for about $5.99, $6.99, depending where you buy it from. So it's a price you can't beat, and it's a good quality taste. And that's what, even us as Cubans, that's what we want. We got a good bargain and good taste.
What's amazing to me is I love a good German lager, but I also love hot sauce. And I would assume that the hot sauce was not made in Germany.
No, so the hot sauce is not made in Germany. We got two hot sauces. One is a Scotch bonnet and one is a habanero. So it's for both. And I'll give you an exclusive coming very soon. We've got a cha sauce. So our cha sauce is coming out, I would say about December. Look for it more in January. We very much, as Latins, even Hispanics, we love flavor. So not only flavor in our beer, but flavor in everything else. So we got our hot sauces. And truly, if you like hot sauces, it's nice to enjoy. And sometimes if it's too much of a kick, you enjoy with some Johnny Cuba beer.
I don't think it's going to be too much of a kick for me, but I definitely need to check some of that stuff out. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
No, of course. And follow us at johnnycuba.us on Instagram and our website. We have a Johnny Cuba locator where you can find any of our products, not just the beer, our products. And again, we have so many releases coming out, many events, and we're very local and we love our local roots and also helping any local charities that do. That's our main thing that we like to do. We do have our products, but we do love to give back to our community because that's what's important to not only us as a brand, but for Miami.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We will start with give us your name and the restaurant that you are here to represent.
I'm Emmanuel from La Birra Bar. We are an Argentinian burger place, and we have 14 locations in Argentina. And we have the first one here in the U.S., in North Miami Beach.
That's awesome. So I guess my first question is, I was wondering why everybody had the World Cup Qatar 2022 shirts and everything. And then I realized you're Argentinian. That was a very good cup for you.
Yes, maybe because the Argentinian meat is very different of the other meat of around the world. So we use 100% Argentinian meat. We make our bun every day. So I think that these different kind of things that every burger place from here, right? So I think that we are craft burger and we are different.
I find that interesting because, like you said, every other burger place here, Black Angus, US. What makes Argentinian beef different and good to where you had to source it out for your North Miami location?
Well, first of all, I think that the Argentinian meat is different. I don't know why, but maybe the grass, maybe the weather in Argentina. I don't know why, but Argentina is, for me, the best the best meat of the world. The second question was?
You answered it. It's perfect. Was it difficult to show North Miami Beach, hey, we are a burger bar, but we are Argentinian? That is who we are, and it's not just a standard McDonald's, Wendy's. We are different in our home and our culture being Argentinian.
Well, first of all, we are a very different concept from McDonald's or Burger King. We have craft bun, a craft meat, so totally different from the other changes. Maybe we opened in 2021, and the people that tried the burger, they told us, it's the best burger that you ever tried, and mouth to mouth, they recommend us. So we are in North Miami Beach. The people are recommend us. We won the Burger Bash to the best burger of US, and we are very happy to be here.
How has the North Miami Brewfest been? You've had a huge line all day. And what have people been saying after they try your burgers?
Well, they say that they never try a burger like us before. A burger like, I don't know how it says, but I think that the people know that the burger is totally different from the concept from here. We have a very different patty, a very different meat, a very different bun. So when they try, they surprise. They are very surprised.
Now, you have 14 locations in Argentina, but here in Miami, there's a very large Argentinian population. Did you get a lot of Argentinians that said, "Oh, I remember you from home. I'm so glad you're here"?
There are a lot of people that know us from Argentina. So we have 14 locations in Argentina, but we have 2 locations in Madrid, and we will open 1 location in Chile. We are opening in December the 2nd location here in Wynwood. So Argentina people know us.
I can't wait for more Floridians and Americans to know you as well. Thank you. Where do you find information on the U.S. locations?
Well, they can find us in www.la Birra Bar. ¿Cómo es? .com. So, thank you so much.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, you've been to pretty much every North Miami Brewfest so far, right?
Absolutely. Every single one.
How do you feel about this one compared to the old ones back at where we used to be?
I mean, I have some bias because one of them was at FIU. So I always have that one. That was also my first ever one that I worked with and I actually helped organize. So I have a bit of a bias with that one. But this is a brand new location. I'm loving it. It looks amazing. I'm open to this being probably my second best ever North Miami Brewfest.
That's awesome. Obviously, the location is amazing. How has the crowd been? Because obviously you have the beer, you've got the bread, and it seems like you've got sort of control over what looks like a little mini encampment of Chaplin School facilities and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shanty town out here. It looks great. I've been seeing a lot of familiar faces, which warms my heart to see returning faces. And a lot of new people. I think this might be one of the most, populated Brewfest we've done so far. I'm really impressed and a lot of interest in the education and not just this being a drunk fest. Again, love that about this.
I will say the one thing that I'm missing are the seminars. Now, where we are sitting below us, the Bartenders Guild is having one right now, actually, which is kind of cool. But a lot of the other seminars aren't here just yet. Obviously, the location doesn't have rooms the way that the old one does. Is that something that you're looking to hopefully stay here but continue to grow in some way, shape, or form?
I mean, I would absolutely hope so. To make up for it, that's why my voice is almost gone. I've been doing a lot of, tiny seminars at my table, giving them historical lessons on the beer, diving into what they like and what they don't like. I'm pretty much becoming a food and beer pairing professor down there right now, and it's been really fun. I've been trying to make up for the lack of the seminars by holding little tiny ones.
That's awesome. Now, obviously, the bread is here. So I love the bread. And it's funny because the FIU Bistro is using your bread with their cheese. I don't want to say dip because I don't want to make it sound. What is that, please?
So that cheese that they're making is actually beer cheese from beer that I actually gave them. So they're using my beer and then they're also using my bread from beer that I brewed as well. Spent grain bread. So I guess I'm more represented on that table than a lot of other tables. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I would probably say I'd love to know what other kind of beers you have that are going on here. Because obviously you have the Groot, and that was phenomenal. That was amazing. Go ahead and let us know what I tried. Now, what else do you have that you brought with you today?
All right, so I have 2 gruits, which historically, no hops. Could be any type of cooking herb, any type of tea. We decided to make a chamomile tea gruit with honeycomb. We also brought a jasmine tea gruit with honeycomb, lemons, and cinnamon, which is our sour pucker one. And it also has lactobacillus, which just tips it over the edge. I love that sour. And then I also have a classic German alt beer, but we fermented it with organic oranges. So it has that orange zest from the skins. It's one of my favorites. I will absolutely get you some.
I just gave him my glass because that needs to happen. Thank you so much. I will see you again soon. I appreciate everything.
I cannot express enough how happy it is to see you here again. Every single time. Every time I go to a Brewfest and I see you, biggest smile on my face, man. You're one of my favorite people.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Marcos from Uncommon Path Brewing.
Rudy from Rocketeer Beer.
Rick
from Rocketeer Beer.
So this is kind of an awesome beer festival because if I am correct, this is the first beer festival that you have been to, Rocketeer, since announcing that you were opening. And is this the first beer festival that Uncommon Path has been to since opening?
Yes, this is the first one we've been to since our opening in September.
Sure. This is the...
So how different is it now telling people this is where we're going to be and not just, oh, we're brewing planning, oh, we're going to do this sometime soon, oh, we're looking at places. How different is it now?
It's a little different because now there are expectations and there is like an end in the sight, right, of our journey. We do understand that like people are coming to us because they want to have our beer and they're hoping to have it in the future again, not just at a festival, but finally at our own space.
And how has it been since you finally opened Uncommon Path? You finally opened your location. Has it been everything that you kind of were hoping for?
Oh, it's been a wild 7-week ride. It's been amazing, to be honest with you. A lot of good feedback from everyone. It was a good year trying to build this project. And I think after doing festivals last year and kind of putting the word out there, a lot of people didn't know who we were. No one really knew where we came from. So opening this was life-changing and a dream of ours. And now that we're open, everyone's like, where you at? Where's this brewery at? Where can we go? How can we get these beers? And now it's just part of it, of just going that extra road. It was like, hey, come to our spot now. You can try more stuff from us.
That's kind of amazing. And is it a necessary grind to do the beer festival circuit, to keep brewing, keep spending your money, giving your beers to randos out there, eventually knowing that where you are and where you are going to be very soon is going to be in the future?
Yeah, I honestly think it's a very good thing to do these festivals. I mean, like, it's kind of creating awareness for your brand, somebody who might not know who you are, or maybe they might not realize that, hey, you're right down the street or next door to where you're going to open up. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback from people who are like, oh my God, you're going to be right next to us. And yeah, I definitely think it is a good thing to do these festivals and really kind of, for two things, experiment with your beers and understand what people like or don't, and also really understand what your market is.
Awesome. And where are you going to be opening up? Because you're actually going to be south of where we are right now at North Miami Brewfest.
We're going to be opening up right across the street from the Falls. That's on down south in Miami, right off of US 1 and 136. If you're from Miami, then you know where the Falls is for sure.
And if you don't, that's why we have GPS. And Uncommon Path is open up in downtown Fort Lauderdale, basically, right?
Yes, that's correct. We're now in between Sunrise and Sistrunk Avenue and Fifth Avenue as well, too. So we're like 2.5 blocks away from Dream State Brewing, if you're familiar with that one, and from Sistrunk Market. And yeah, it's a new development, new area. A lot of people get scared out to go out there because they see on Google Streets it looks way different, but it's a whole new development that we're in. Great little space.
Awesome. So what did you bring to the festival today? I don't know what you brought. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Well, what did you bring, and did you try to do something that was kind of focused on what North Miami might be a little bit more interested in than maybe Broward County, or even going up a little bit?
So I brought our Viva Veloce, which is our Italian Pilsner. I feel like it's a very refreshing Pilsner to bring to this festival where, down in Miami, people like light stuff, man. They either like the smoothies or they like the light stuff. So we cater a little bit to the lager side of things. And I brought also Dremo, or wheat lager, and an IPA. Everyone loves an IPA, so I got to have them. And yeah, we're just doing a little bit of everything, just trying to showcase what we do best. And right now, it's more hitting our lagers and other styles as well, too.
From the beers that Rocketeer brought, which one of those do you like?
Oh, that Japanese rice lager is on point. I forgot the name. Remind me.
Beyond the Rising Sun.
Beyond the Rising Sun. Try that shit. It is really good.
All right, so Rocketeer, I'm looking. I know what you brought. I know what you brought. You know what you brought. I know what you brought. You know what you brought. I know what I'm drinking right now. As much as I didn't realize that you had a rice lager. I love rice lagers. I got to try that. But what'd you bring? What'd you bring?
We brought your very own Hello Dave.
and as much as certain people doubted me, you did name it after me because of our meetings at like Whoop and whatever. So it's kind of amazing. I will say it does taste like you've dialed it in from the last couple times that I've had it. I think you are now done. because it is fantastically juicy. Absolutely love it. But other than Hello Dave, what else did you bring?
So we brought, obviously, the Japanese rice lager. We also brought our traditional Marzen, which is Oi. We brought our Photon Emitter, which is a cold IPA. Surprisingly, we brought our very first seltzer. It's a blueberry mint. Thanks to Rudy. He really was the driving force in this. We also brought a Mordskatte, which is a Weizenbock, and our very own I Am Fruit, which is the berry sour.
I'm just now noticing the Flanagan's tattoo that you have on your shoulder. Yeah, there you go. Good job. Of the Uncommon Path beers, which one of his are you enjoying today?
I don't think I've been to your place today. Honestly, I didn't get to make it out of my tent. We were so busy, I didn't get to walk over, but I need to walk over and try some. What did you bring today?
I brought that Italian Pils, the Dremel, the wheat lager, and then the Fifth and Sunrise are. You guys had the Dremel.
Yeah, Dremel. So I love his wheat lager. I tried it. The very first time I ever tried it was at the grand opening. Loved it. Went back, ordered it again. Went back another time, ordered it again, and I'm going to go back at this event and get it again.
Now that I know you brought that, I'm probably going to swing by your tent and get some.
That's awesome. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I'll let you get back and start slinging some more beers.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for having us here.
Thanks for having us here.
All of that kind of comes to play to this last interview. And this was the longest interview that I did during the event. And this was the most amazing interview because I learned a lot more about the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Development than I had ever thought possible. I had no idea that they had so much for their students until I spoke to the Bartenders Guild. The Bartenders Guild is not an official accredited program. It is a student-run organization, but it is basically there to help support students that are going into fields where there is mixed drinks, bartenders, things of that nature, nightclubs, hotels, restaurants, think along those lines. The Bartenders Guild has been at the North Miami Brewfest for a couple of years now. And what's really fun about the event is they will always come with mixed drinks that are partially made with the beer that Albert and his team at the FIU Brew Lab are making. So it's just really, really phenomenal stuff. The people that I spoke to with this event is the beverage program manager for the FIU Chaplin School. That's Mitchell Meredith. The oversight coordinator for the Bartenders Guild, Gabriela Ramos, and current president of the Bartenders Guild, Ian Gonzalez. And I spoke to all three of them at the same time to kind of learn a little bit more about what the Bartenders Guild does, and actually learned a lot more about the Chaplin School as a whole, and specifically and especially how some of the partnerships that the Chaplin School has with other major players in the hospitality industry, people like Bacardi and Carnival and now Heineken, play to not just give these companies street cred because they're sponsoring something, but to give the students an amazing real world experience before actually graduating. So this is Mitchell Meredith, Gabriela Ramos, Ian Gonzalez from the Bartenders Guild at the FIU Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management. This is an awesome interview. Enjoy. By passing this around, if you could do me a favor and give me your name, and especially for you, I guess the title as to what you want to be known as in the show notes, not just random human being 1, 2, 3.
Great. Thank you so much. My name is Mitchell Meredith. I'm the beverage program manager at the Bacardi Center of Excellence underneath the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management. One of my biggest focuses is the innovation side of things, but also really supporting the students in their experiential education, everything from crafting beer cocktails and understanding the way that spirits interact with beer and the sugar content interacts with the beer for carbonation levels, and research and development when it comes to that with students hands-on, but also to understanding the innovation side of things and which equipment pieces we can use to create unique spirits or infusions or serving methods or Flavor Blaster and the Brood, which are two kind of our big brand partners that we use for physical products. The Hard Tank is another one of ours where it's like a rapid infusion machine. So our students are really focusing on the experiential education side of things, and really building it from there. I've had the pleasure of working with our Bartenders Guild, Wine Guild, and Coffee Guild on different levels of experiential education. And that's everything from cherry to cup for our Coffee Guild and grape to glass for our Wine Guild. But then for our Bartenders Guild, it's everything under the sun, including both of those things, non-alcoholic cocktails, and really understanding the science behind each of these and crafting those beverages. So here at the North Miami Brewfest today, we were able to have two different tent activations. Number one, with our Bartenders Guild. Number one being in our VIP section, we were able to host cocktail demos. And we have two other students here today that'll speak to that. But we were able to teach all of the guests attending about shake styles and tools and jiggers and shaker tins and strainers and kind of what it takes to craft a really unique cocktail and how shaking a drink can really affect that. On the other side of things, we also had our tent where we had 3 different student-crafted beer cocktails, right? Not just a beer, but taking a beer that our on-campus fermentation lab technician, Albert, created, and then creating a beer out of it. So tasting an IPA and really understanding the citrus notes or the nuances and creating a cocktail that was unique to that beer, or the Belgian wit, where we were able to create a little bit more of a floral component and really understanding what those differences are and how to craft that and what it takes to understand and really do those types of things.
You said a lot of things that I did not know existed a minute ago. And so this interview got a little bit longer than I had anticipated. And for that, I apologize. But I'm going to go ahead and ask you if you could introduce yourself. And since you've been running a lot of the seminars that are going on downstairs, what exactly are you running and what are you trying to sort of, I hate to use this word, infuse on the guests that are in the VIP tent when it comes to crafting a good cocktail?
Hi, my name is Gabriela Ramos, and I am the oversight coordinator with the Bartenders Guild over at FIU. And I'm also the social media specialist for the Coffee Guild that Mitchell so incredibly brought up. So yeah, we do have these incredible guilds at our school that really showcase what the students can do. And there's so much to do in this industry, alcoholic and non-alcoholic. But yeah, downstairs we were doing the demo tent where we were teaching all of our friends in the VIP tents how to not only shake a margarita, but also what components involve and what components come into that margarita. So fun facts about that, fun facts about the tequila. We were also talking about our partners with Filthy and their sustainability and the way that they are local and to Miami. And that's what a lot of people really enjoy. And that's what a lot of people want, especially nowadays. They want something local. They want something true and authentic. And like I said, sustainability, that's one of the pillars that we focus on over at FIU, and especially in our programs. Not only do we focus on uplifting the students and motivating them with networking and just building relationships, but we also focus on sustainability and innovation and how can we globally impact everybody with that. So Filthy itself, they have been able to reduce their carbon footprint 1,000%, turning what would have taken 10 trucks worth of products, now it's 1 with the way that their packaging is. So it's pretty incredible. And we like to work with people that not only hold our values, but that they are true to themselves and authentic. Like I said before, that's a big word for us.
Awesome. That's amazing. And with the people that are coming here, if you could introduce yourself and kind of let me know what the response has been from the people that are in the VIP tent. Have they been engaged in asking a lot of questions and trying to really learn what's going on? It seems that this is not really a drunk fest, as it were. So it seems like there's a lot of people that are truly wanting to be engaged.
Hi, so my name is Ian Gonzalez. I'm the current president of the Bartenders Guild at FIU. According to what I've heard in the beer tent where we're serving beer cocktails, all the guests have been coming up to us, be like, "Oh, are you serving the Filthy Black Cherry Margarita too in the VIP tent?" They're so amazing. They're incredible. They're giving us such great information, innovation right there when it comes to the tools. All the information with sustainability about Filthy and Cazadores that we're presenting with Bacardi today. Right? So we've gotten all that information from all the VIPs coming to the tent that we have serving beer cocktails. But they've also come up to us to ask how we're making these beer cocktails, how we train and developing all these new recruits that we have for our volunteers, because these spaces that we have for volunteers are all for FIU students, but you don't have to be a hospitality student to volunteer with us. Right, so we have people from the computer science majors, hospitality, engineering campus. We have people from the pre-med, law students too. So it's super interesting seeing all these majors come together just to learn more about mixology, craft cocktails, and fine spirits here with the Bacardi Center of Excellence, the Bartenders Guild at FIU. And that's what we just love. We just seeing them enjoy a good time in learning about innovation and mixology with the guests. It's not just about, oh, let me just learn how to do this and not show anybody else. Let's increase education tenfold, right? So when you're teaching somebody, you're learning and reinforcing what you learn. So that's what we focus on too.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about the Bartenders Guild? Because if you were to tell somebody, hey, we've got this bartending program at a university, they're not going to assume anything other than Animal House, shall we say. But it seems to be very business focused, very creativity, very forward-thinking, industry research focused rather than just drinking.
So here at the Bartenders Guild, we focus on the passion, curiosity, and camaraderie of craft cocktails, mixology, and fine spirits under the Bacardi Center of Excellence with our sister guilds, the Wine Guild and the Coffee Guild. And we're about all education. So it's not just about educating people on cocktails, on what they're made and how they're made, but the history behind them and the history behind Bacardi and all their products. Because Bacardi doesn't just focus on, oh, let me just get this good product. Every product behind Bacardi has a history, has a special reason why they acquired that product, right? So that's what we focus on, telling people the history behind it and just educating on them.
Interesting. And from what I had heard from Dean Chang, Bacardi is much more than just giving you a suitcase full of cash so you can slap your name on the building. They're actually a partner when it comes to learning. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So Bacardi has been a very big part of our program. We do have the Bacardi Center of Excellence over at the Chaplin School, and they have, like you said, they are not just a suitcase full of cash. Like, they really do have an incredible education department that really focuses on, like Ian said, the development of students, and they want to train and to build the next big people in the industry. Like, what we are here to do is learn, and how can we be bigger parts than just what the people before us, right? We're learning from our mentors, from our professors, from Bacardi, and they are so hands-on, and they are so good at creating brand ambassadors, they have internships over at our school as well, where we focus on not only, like, my specialty is events. I'm not in beverage, and they have been able to warp a internship to fulfill what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, they have focused on where I can do logistics and operations and event management in the beverage industry. So it really is so big, and they are so big on telling us and introducing us to that world.
I would assume that, as from a faculty standpoint, there's something that partnering with them and having them come in gives so much more than any lecture could ever do.
Yeah, absolutely. So the big picture, super important thing I talked a lot about experiential education earlier, but the other really big facet of what we do is connecting our students with the industry. But at the end of the day, you can graduate from FIU and get a degree, but if you don't have a place to go or you don't have a career path to follow, it can be really difficult and it can be daunting, especially from the hospitality side of things. So really connecting our students with the beverage professionals or the distributors or the marketing professionals or the innovative or the entrepreneurs, and really understanding what our students are looking for and connecting with the industry people that we work with consistently. The beauty of FIU's hospitality program under the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management is that the professors and the faculty and the staff are also really still involved in the industry. It's not somebody talking about their industry experience from 10 years ago or 15 years ago, or back in my day, we used to do X, Y, and Z. It's so much more focused now on this is what's going on currently, and these are the trends that I'm seeing right now. We focus so much more on what the foundational experience is relevant into now, that people are then able to find the right job or find the right internship or find the right experience that allows them to really benefit from the degree and not end up in a job where they don't feel the passion or they don't feel the unique experiences. And connecting with the Bacardis of the world or the Heinekens of the world or the Lavazzas of the world, not to get too far off track, but all three of those companies are huge supporters of the FIU program. And not just so, like you said, from the suitcase perspective, but very much so like, how can we get our team involved with what you all are doing? How can we get your students in front of the right people and showcasing them so that they can find the right job or they can be involved with the right people to really develop their skills or take that to the next level, which at the end of the day, from the FIU perspective, in my opinion, is fantastic, because then FIU is placing people in the right position and growing their network and the alumni network. But also then from the brand perspective, it's the longest sell in the business, right? You're investing in a student who's 18, 19, 20, 21 years old to be able to then take that in the long term, and 10, 5, 15, 20 years from now, they're still supporting whatever that brand is that's given them a chance
chance or giving them some support. So that's incredibly important for what we do. It's not the suitcase, it's the support, it's the engagement, it's the how can Bacardi help us, or how can Lavazza help us, or how can Heineken help us to develop the students.
And obviously, you've got some partners like Bacardi, a natural here in South Florida, Carnival, a natural here in South Florida. Heineken has kind of started to really get in, and with La Tropical connection, that makes a lot of sense. I was not expecting Lavazza. Was not expecting coffee. I was not expecting wine. My mind was sort of blown. So what kind of connections, what kind of activities do those guilds have?
So for the coffee guilds, one of our biggest partners and our biggest partner is going to be Lavazza. We also have Bustelo. But these are companies that have seen what Bacardi has been able to do with our students over at FIU. And they've been, you know what? This is the way it is. Like how Mitch said, we're building the next people in the industry. We're engaging and we're learning, and you're investing in young people that really can uplift and be a bigger part. And I think Lavazza, especially Lavazza, I know because that's one of my friends' connections. It's great. We've done events with them, and we just did an event over at the SLS where they were all the big wigs in the coffee industry, which you wouldn't think, right? Because alcohol is the biggest thing. Everybody's like alcohol this, alcohol that, but really there is much more to it. And now things are coming up and coming with zero proof and non-alcoholic, and people still want to be cool, but they don't have to drink to be cool, or you can just appreciate the history, and which is what we're teaching. And the coffee and even the wine aspect has been able to do that. So our partners really have just been giving us that opportunity to, if we don't want to go into alcohol, hey, we can go into coffee. It's a big world out there, like I said.
Is there a lot of communication between the different guilds? Because obviously the Bartenders Guild in Brew FIU does a lot of work, in every single year that I've come to this event, there's always been the beer cocktails, which I feel is a perfect combination between the two. But I've never seen the wine guild and I've never seen the coffee guild come to events like this. Is there a lot of communication within those guilds at the university? And is there an opportunity to maybe bring them to the North Miami Brewfest in future years?
I do agree. I think bringing them, there's an opportunity there to bring the coffee guild and wine guild over here to North Miami Brewfest at some point. What we like to do, we average 3 events per week with the Bartenders Guild, and some of those events in a collaboration with the coffee and the wine guild, right? Well, one of the biggest events that we did with all 3 guilds will be Tales of the Cocktail. When we went to New Orleans with Bacardi and Lavazza to work Tales of the Cocktail, one of the biggest events in beverage in the year, right? And every year, when they took us over there, and we were able to meet so many industry professionals and learn from them how the industry works with both bar, mixology, coffee, and everything that it takes to run a big, large-scale event over 1,000 people, 6,000 people every day. And that's the big part of it. Is we hold meetings for our students in our school every other Tuesday and every other Thursday, and we collaborate on those meetings because we can talk about beer cocktails, we can talk about wine cocktails, we can talk about coffee cocktails like an espresso martini, Irish coffee, New York sour, right? And give our students a further knowledge on each when it comes to the science behind it and the arts, the history, all those concepts that are important and other bartenders and other industry professionals appreciate as well when you go to a bar or top 50 best bars in the world.
And I'll go ahead and end with this. When it comes to events like the North Miami Brewfest, is it a great way to reach out to current or even potential students and show them this isn't so much party as much as this is business, this is industry, this is economy, this is a field that you can learn and educate yourself in and build a career and so on?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, right? There's the beauty of the North Miami Brewfest is that the vast majority of the attendees are over 21 years old. But also, when I went to college and when these students went to college, you had to convince mom and dad that you were going to the right place. So for us to be able to showcase what the students are learning, what the students are engaging in, and what they're going to learn as a skill, not the skill, right? That's the goal for all of the guilds and what we have going on under the Bacardi Center of Excellence is we're not trying to be a bartending school. We're not trying to be a coffee school or a sommelier school, right? We're trying to add a feather in the cap, and we're trying to well-round our students so that when we graduate students that become managers, they understand what the barista barista's doing. They understand what the somm is doing. They understand what the bartender is doing. And when it's a Friday night and there's the exception of the rule that you got to jump in and help out, you're not all thumbs, right? You can understand what that looks like, and being able to understand the people that you manage and what value point is to them and the added value that you can create for their role, right? The North Miami Brewfest is a fantastic opportunity for us to showcase that unique skill, right? I can't tell you the amount of surprised faces and unique reactions to people walking up and saying, wait, you're serving beer cocktails, not beer? Well, hold on, we are, but it's FIU beer from FIU Brew that was created for us to then showcase our skills, right? And building that community, building that camaraderie amongst the students, amongst the organizations within the university, amongst the myself and Alberts of the world, so that we're working together, but really also showcasing for students that this is how an operation runs. You show up to a hotel to work, it's not just F&B. It's not just housekeeping or just engineering. Like, you have to work as a team with people that have different skill sets than you. And it's an incredible amount of value for them to learn that and be able to experience that without risking losing their job or being at a place where you're working to figure that out. You have that foundational experience going into work and going into the industry. And that's incredibly important for us.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I do appreciate it.
Let's give it up for FIU.
FIU. So there we go. Another North Miami Brewfest is in the books. I'm looking forward to next year's already. It is going to be amazing, but there's more beer fests coming. And next week we will be at another beer fest with some of my friends in North Palm Beach. And obviously, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. And why don't you go ahead and follow us on Instagram or social media? If you're going to follow us on Instagram or Threads or whatever Twitter is being called these days, that's at Florida Beer Blog. Facebook is FL Beer Blog. Write to us at floridabeerblog@gmail.com or find us on the internet at floridabeerblog.com or floridabeerpodcast.com. And if you go to floridabeerpodcast.com, you'll see that we are a proud member of the Florida Podcast Network, a collection of great Florida-based podcasts that give you all the lowdown of living here in the Sunshine State. You can get more information on them if you really need to, right at floridapodcastnetwork.com. But let's be honest, you're going to go to floridabeerpodcast.com and you can get to the rest of the site from there. Remember, we are on the podcasting app of your choice. And if you are listening to us on a podcasting app, make sure to subscribe. If you can rate us, please give us a nice 5-star review. It really does help us get the word about who we are out there. You can even listen to us on YouTube. And make sure to give us a follow on YouTube as well. We will be back next week for another amazing episode. In the meantime, our intro announcer is Jeff Brozovich, field producer is Steve Pacala, executive producer for the Florida Podcast Network, and Grand High Poobah is Jemmy Lagonier. This is David Butler, your host and author. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next week. Drink Florida Craft.